Hello and welcome to the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I've been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019, and we are continuing to march through yet another offseason together. As always, Jacksonville Jaguars On SI gives you the best and most comprehensive coverage of the Jacksonville Jaguars you will find anywhere, whether it be locally or even nationally. We provide you 24/7, 100% free, boots on the ground coverage of the Jaguars to give you an inside look on your favorite team. So don't forget that you can find us on social media such as Facebook or Twitter at Jaguars on SI, and you can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. The Jaguars have kicked off the start of their offseason program. Of course, the first several weeks are limited really to rehab, meetings, working out, stuff like that. So they won't officially be on the grass still for another couple weeks, etc. But this is a big week for Liam Cohen and the Jaguars. This is the first time that they will have their current veteran roster in the building, working hand in hand alongside the new coaching staff, new free agent additions, and what I consider to be the most important thing that the Jaguars are doing during this process. It's Liam Cohen's first chance to really start to instill his culture. And to instill the culture that the Jaguars want, that Liam Cohen wants, it's going to have to start from the ground zero. Now, it's going to have to be built from the ground up, and it starts during this time. Yeah, the Jaguars aren't on the practice field. They're far away from being in pads. They're even further away from playing a meaningful game. But the start of the offseason program gives Cohen a chance to start to get his messaging out. Now, all indications are so far from what we've seen, what's been said, and what we've heard individually is that all of Cohen's interactions with players so far have been very positive. I've had a few people inside the building just tell me that simply Cohen's energy and enthusiasm are something that have been a big difference inside the building, and people believe players will really gravitate toward him. He's a younger guy. He knows how to coach, in my opinion, this generation of players. He knows the energy it takes. He knows the passion it takes, and this is the time that Cohen can start to make that first impression on the Jaguars in their roster. Of course, he's already had several meetings and conversations with guys like Trevor Lawrence, Josh Hines-Allen, Brian Thomas Jr., the stars of the roster, etc. But it is critical for Cohen to make that strong first impression. First impressions are everything. I heard back in 2022 how big of a first impression Doug Peterson made. He let the roster know and the organization know that, hey, the 2021 nightmare isn't going to be repeated. We're going to do things a different way, and you will be taught how to be a professional football player. That's why I've said before, I still don't think Peterson was a wrong hire in 2022. He helped the Jaguars grow up. They grew up. They got out of the Urban Meyer phase. They understood what it meant to practice and to work and to develop into professional football players. With that said, there's clearly another level the Jaguars can and should reach. They made progress with Peterson the first year, started off 8-3 the second year, and then the last year and a half obviously went terrible due to a number of reasons, injuries being one of them, lack of ability to handle adversity being another, and Peterson's fired and Cohen's brought in. Cohen, to me, Peterson set the tone for that 2022 season as soon as they got in there for offseason workouts. And I think that's what Cohen needs to do with the team, these next couple of weeks. Let them know what is to be expected. Let them know his coaching style, his communication style, and let them know what kind of culture they're building in Jacksonville. So it's not week 4 and they're down by 6 with 3 minutes left and they're wondering who they are. I think Cohen's going to be a good communicator and culture builder just from the things I've heard about him, my interactions with him. what I've heard about other people's interactions with him. But this is the time to really set the stage for that. This is the time for Cohen and the Jaguars to start building. Again, they're a good bit away from having a chance to get on the field and prove that last year isn't who the Jaguars are, which obviously is their main goal. With that said, this is where you start building that foundation. And that's why I think that this week, even with the lack of contact, lack of practice, these next couple weeks, and like I said, it's literally rehab, workouts, meetings, stuff like that. Nothing too extraneous. I still think it's a critical time period for the Jaguars and for Cohen's first year and tenure as Jaguars head coach. Because I think this is when you show people, okay, this is how we're doing things. So we'll see, obviously, when the fall comes, how that culture has been established. You know, it's not an overnight thing. He's not going to get in there this week and it will be suddenly flipped around next week. It's going to take time. It's going to take some ups. It's going to take some downs. But this is still a very, very critical time, in my opinion, for Liam Cohen's first year as Jaguars head coach. Thank you guys for listening. My name is John Shipley. As always, back next time.